Hello and welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room, the interview series with your host, Geoff Mays. And in studio with me today is the fabulous Tyler Tanner. Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good, how are you, Geoff?
I'm good, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It's a pleasure. Now, those of you out there who don't know Tyler, like I do with all of my other episodes, I would like to introduce you to his grandeur. I invited Tyler here today because he is a multifaceted performer whose talents translate to stage, screen, stand-up comedy, drag, I'm going to come back to that, and writing. And I'm coming back to it right now because I can't go any further. Like, drag?
I know, I'm like the least feminine drag performer you'll ever see. Yeah, I've been doing it for about a year now. A year this month.
Are you serious?
And it started as a friend of mine was like, I really want to do this competition. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And it just, there's so many open stages in Toronto. So I was like, yeah.
Do you have a drag persona at this point?
Yep. My name is Shiznat.
Uh-huh.
Shiznat. Shiznat. Find me on Instagram. And it's just a weird ass name. It doesn't come from anything.
Cool.
It just it like got to a point in my career as an actor that I wasn't booking anything. I wasn't getting auditions, and so I thought, well, I need to find something to perform. I got to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where drag came from. Just there were so many opportunities to perform. Same thing with with stand up.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking for different types of performing to do.
Absolutely. And how long have you been doing stand-up?
I think I started in February.
Okay.
And I've just, I did a class at Second City, and I did an open stage. And there's Comedy Bar, Absolute Comedy, Yuck Yucks, I think somewhere in, what's the one in Eglinton?
That used to be a Yuck Yucks. I don't know what it is now.
Is it?
I know at one time it was Yuck Yucks when I lived up there.
If anyone watching this knows, write in the comments if you know what it is, because I really want to know.
It will come to you mid-conversation or
halfway through.
Or, in a couple days when I get this uploaded, you'll be like, oh, there it is, right there in the comments. 646972 said. Right?
But I encourage everyone to do drag. Not even if you're a man emulating a woman. It's more than that, It's way more.
What do you find about it? Because this is absolutely new for me. Stand-up comedy is also new for me. Something I've been trying out a little bit as well, so I can relate to that. But drag, what is it for you? I know where it's now come from. It was the opportunity to perform. Dare from a friend.
Have you ever been in the shower and you're singing a song and you're by yourself, right? So you're like, yeah, we're not gonna take it.
Yeah, no. I've been there.
So like, it's just like that, but you just dress and put on whatever kind of makeup you want, do something wild and crazy. I'll show you some photos after if you want.
Yeah.
And I like to perform songs that I like to dance to and have a good time with. Some performers like to perform songs that are slow and sort of boring, but that's okay because drag is drag is way more than people think it is, or there's way more to it. So it's just fun to do, and people get into it. I don't know if you've ever been to a drag show.
Haven't. They get into they get into it.
Yeah, the audiences just go crazy, and the performers. It's just this great. It's this great sort of connection that you get easily from people.
Okay.
And it's like you're performing a song. You're not donating hundreds of dollars to charity or like saving the world or like,
Key point here, folks. Drag is not like donating $100 to charity.
But if you tip a performer $100, that is very well appreciated.
Absolutely, we're all starving artists. So true, right? Now you have recently returned. I want to come back to this impressive stuff because it leads us into where I really want to talk about and have fun with today.
For sure.
You've recently returned back to Toronto after studying at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York, right? Represent, yeah. If I heard correctly, it was the full program, not like a half or partial.
No, it was just a summer.
The summer program.
It was just a summer program for 6 weeks, right in Manhattan. 54th and Lexington. But they also have a full-time program, which I was accepted to.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I start September 2020, which was so nice of Pamela, I don't remember her last name, and I apologize. But she let me defer it for a year. Defer for a year.
Defer, correct. Wow, congratulations. 2020, you'll be going back to New York.
Yeah, I have to reconnect with her in February to confirm that I want to do the program.
Yeah.
But as of now, yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And before that, you were traveling around the world.
Yeah.
Australia, Germany, England, Copenhagen, Scotland. Last time we spoke, I heard that you might be going to India or somewhere else
Yes,
abroad.
I made a friend in New York who's really freaking cool, and her name's Nidhi, and again, I don't remember anyone's last name, but she said, "Come, Tyler." She lives in Mumbai, and she says, "Come for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we'll do road trips and travel around." So
That is very cool. Now, you may have seen, and for those of you who watch regularly, last episode, as to why there was such a gap between last episode and this one, was I personally was on vacation. And the episode right before I left for vacation was all about the value and the joy of taking a break, of getting your head screwed on a different way, getting some life experience into you so that you don't get trapped in being your artist. And as you just said, bringing this all back to Tyler because it's about him. You just said that you had deferred Neighborhood Playhouse. Now, I'm guessing, you can correct me. 2 reasons. Reason 1 being money. Reason 2 being India and many other travels that you may squeeze in there beforehand.
yes, well, that is a reason. There's a third reason, and it's really because I learned so much over the summer, and I wanted to apply it to work and see if it was worth it.
Right.
Yeah. To see if it actually was, if there was a difference in my acting, if it just got better, more or less. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it. But
That's all need be. But I'm going to ask this question, short form, one word answer. Has the travel affected your acting?
yes.
Okay. Trust me, I will come back to that. It's like, well, maybe, yes. So my first question, this is something that burns in me all the time. I'm going to ask this one. I'm going to ask on behalf of many of the viewers because I know they're sitting there thinking Australia, Scotland, Copenhagen, India upcoming, the time in New York. This I know is costly, so I'm not asking.
And that's just by myself.
Yeah,
my family. I've been very lucky. My family's brought me around lots of places.
Wow. So you don't need to get into specific details by any means. Because I know that you're not independently wealthy. How do you finance this? Like what is it?
I have 4 jobs.
Okay.
And one is a bar job, and I work at Ryerson University. Plug in. I also do a lot of background work, and I work at the Michener Institute. And when I have my heart set on wanting to do something, I do it. When I was getting ready for New York, when I was getting ready for Australia, I gave myself at least like a few months to save up, but I cut back on drinking. I cut back on other stuff. I really try and really commit to getting ready for that traveling, because I want to enjoy myself there as much as I can.
Right, absolutely. So what I'm hearing is you work and you go, I want to go there, and you save. So careful planning and money management.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it, folks. It's not that hard. Careful planning, money management. You can travel as much as Tyler does.
Why buy a self-help book?
Yeah.
I'm right here. Call me up.
There it is. We'll leave his number on the end of the text. So tell me about the travels. Like, just open-ended question there for you. Tell me about the travels.
Well, each destination had a specific reason. I've never gone to a place just like willy-nilly. For example, when I went to Australia, I was there for 5 months, and I
5 months?
5 months by myself.
Wow.
Didn't know
Planning,
a single person.
money management. 5 months in Australia.
Yeah. And I was going through a bit of a depression, and it was the farthest place from Canada that spoke English.
Okay.
And my parents had gone before, and I knew people that had gone before, and they said it was a magical place, which it is. It really is. And sort of that is history.
With that said, we're going to pick up where we were, and you were saying after Australia, where'd you go?
Germany, Poland.
Germany and Poland.
And Copenhagen.
And Copenhagen.
Germany, Poland, Copenhagen. I had a friend that was in Poland, saw a map. Germany's right there. Had some friends there. So I went.
So you went.
And I get into this. I went to Copenhagen, had a crap ton of fun. Family show.
Yeah, that's fine. Crap.
And I was only there for a couple days because I was catching my flight from Copenhagen back to Canada. And I had so much fun. I was going to stay a couple extra days, but I thought, no, I should go back because, I need to work and blah, blah, blah. So I got back to Canada. Then 2 days later, I found out the airline went bankrupt. People were stranded. Are you listening, YouTube? People were stranded and no refunds, nothing.
So you missed the stuck in Copenhagen.
By this much.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
It's very wild. I had the fortune, I was traveling with some colleagues, and luck of the draw put me on the standby, and I got the flight and got home and, thanked my friends. Whatever. I got home and the flight ended up being delayed by 6.5 hours, and I felt so bad for my colleagues. But I know that relief of, wow, I'm home. So I can understand. Because I can't imagine. That was the States. That was nothing. I can't imagine what it would be to be on the other side of the world with nothing. That was just a delay, but with no recourse. Whew. Careful planning, money management.
Careful. This is really an episode about money management. This is not. We're here to talk about stocks and.
Yeah. Yes. The thoughts from the green room. It's called green because we talk about money, which we don't have.
Is this gonna? Are these gonna be the trees?
That will become the trees. Yeah.
I mean, it is trees.
You won't see it becoming trees. I'm just going to make it trees because it's a green screen behind us that I mess around with. You said something there that I'm curious about. You don't need to talk about it if you don't want to. You're welcome to defer any of my questions or say, no, not going there. But you'd mentioned that Australia came about because you were going through depression. I heard that correctly?
Yes.
All right. So I want to ask a question, and again, full disclosure. If you don't want to discuss that,
just ask it.
Boom. So part of what we do here, I've got many friends who are going through mental health issues. Mental health is a serious issue in our world, and finally getting some traction. That people are recognizing that it is something that needs to be looked after and taken care of. So I guess the question I'm asking is, how did travel affect your state of being?
How did it affect my state of being? Well, I'm very fortunate to be a bit of an extrovert and quite a sociable person.
I would have never guessed.
But right, I seem like such a lonely, miserable. No, I can't swear, but I like the idea of going somewhere where nobody knows you or me. In Australia, nobody knew who I was. There was no expectations. There was no obligations. It was just about having a good time and meeting new people. And when I was here in Toronto, I was kind of stuck because I had been working the same job for, at that time, 3 years.
Wow.
And a bar job for 3 years that was not, I just felt very stuck.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
I couldn't even get I couldn't even get an audition for anything. My agent dropped me. I had just gotten broken up with. Just life was kind of going in a weird direction. So then going to Australia was always sunny. The people were so nice. And because no one knew who I was, there was nothing to be afraid of. I just went up to random people and I was, hi, how are you? How are things? My name's Tyler. How are you? One time I was in a cab, and sometimes I do this in Toronto, where I will get in a cab or an Uber and create complete new identities.
I'm gonna try that.
It's so much fun. I was with a friend of mine, and we were like, let's pretend we're married. And the guy gave us his card, and he said, oh, after the wedding, call me, and I'll drive you from the church to the airport, or I'm like, oh, my name's Joe. I do advertising at Ryerson. I don't even know if they have advertising at Ryerson.
Me either.
But yeah. So that was, what was the question?
Well done, well done. The question was, how did the travel affect your depression? Was it a positive experience? Did it do anything for it? Let's leave it open.
Super positive.
Super positive.
Especially Australia, because I was so far away from home, and it was the first time I was going somewhere for kind of no reason,
Mm-hmm.
and by myself, on my own finances, on my own terms. I met some wonderful people. I met some really nasty people. I fell in love a few times. I definitely became more emotionally independent, or aware, I guess, because when you're by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you really get to learn a lot about yourself.
I am sure that you do.
What was the question?
You crack me up.
So
Just want to know how the travel affected the saving.
Do you know what? To be fair to myself, it is very hard to talk about.
Understandable.
You know, it's very Australia, and all my travels are very sentimental to me, and I definitely learn a lot. And it's hard to sit here and talk about your experiences in a matter of minutes. You know,
Of course.
and of course you want to make it. You know, you want to say some vague philosophical bull about, you know, but
Yeah.
you can't. I'm not that kind of person, and I'd rather. What was the question?
So what I'm hearing, is that the travel did the mental state well.
Oh, 100%. I
Okay.
came back fresh, ready to go, and you know, when you're not doing anything, or what you want to do for 5 months, it's sort of, you have all this built up energy that you want to give out to the world once you get back. You know,
That's very cool.
and it was very, yeah. If anyone is having some problems, for example, before Australia, acting was this burden for me. I hated it. Like, I knew I had to do it because people were expecting me to do it, and I said I was gonna do it, but I didn't want to do it. I was so tired of it. But I listened to a bunch of music and self-help stuff, but I listened to Lauryn Hill's MTV Live album. Not so much the music, but more the talking in between the songs, and it's very wise.
It's very wise. Lauryn Hill's MTV
Unplugged album.
Unplugged album.
Yeah,
So just in respects to that, putting I don't know if the right word for this is shout out, putting a shout out towards mental health. You of your own accord recognize the state of being and made choices to facilitate yourself, yes?
Oh yeah.
Great. So I encourage anybody out there who's watching who faces any mental health challenges, knows anyone who faces them, to support them, to stand by them, to help them get professional help if necessary, or stand by them while they go through their personal journey, whether it be literal hopping on a plane and going to Australia, or whether it be, you know, taking a long walk. Whatever it is, be there for your friends and be supportive and recognize the challenges that people face. Mental health is a serious issue in today's society. It's always been, but now we recognize it, right?
And in this, I talk about Australia like it very easily, but I mean, more or less, I can't articulate it well, but the day before I left, I was like, oh, I can't go. I don't want to do this. And I was terrified. My sister said, shut up and get on that plane. And I did. And I'm so happy I did. And it's much harder to, it's like going to the gym. The hardest part about going to the gym is physically going to the gym.
Yes,
you can
absolutely.
talk. You know, I have those friends. I hope they don't watch this, but I won't name them. They talk about all this stuff they want to do and all the blah, 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 and then they don't do it.
Which brings
it's
us
all talk.
It's all talk, and it brings us to the age-old adage: "There's no better time than the present." Right? Absolutely. You also said in there, and this is where I want to bring this around to. This is where the fun is. So first off, you mentioned that, you know, it's challenging to sit in the chair beside me, to talk to our viewers, to share, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah,
Very much appreciated.
I think we spoke. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's all right.
You.
I can be interrupted for a second.
No,
No, you can't interrupt me. No, seriously, thank you for sharing, and because it is challenging. I'm asking some questions that are digging, and that you're going there, I appreciate it. You were about to say something
Oh,
about
I
us?
was about to say it's very hard because for someone like myself who is very, my mind, it goes everywhere, and I realize that I'm very active with my hands and looking everywhere, and uh, it's it's very hard to be on film or so close and in a close space and be calm
Wow.
and not.
Part of the poll in the comments, put in how you think Tyler's doing in terms of fitting in the box.
Speaking of box, this is a small room. I
It
don't know
is.
if people. This is
It's
not.
got no concept, especially when you put the background in. It looks
This-
like we're outside.
It looks well. I don't
Ish.
really know if it looks outside, but like this is smooth. It feels like inside the actor's studio, lap of luxury. But we're talking budget here, folks.
Yeah.
This man's making it work.
The box
He's
we're in.
not. He's not messing around.
Thank you. Bringing this back to you, you had said something in there, and this is really the crux of what inspired this conversation with you. You had said that acting was a challenge, a burden, a difficulty before going to Australia, and said that when you came back, it wasn't, obviously. Now, this is what I want to talk about. Like, I want to talk about everything. I could sit here for hours with you, but for them, for us, bring it back to the green room being an artist-driven show. I want to talk about travel and acting. Reminder that my previous episode was about the value of taking a break and looking for other influences. We can't live inside a box if we're going to be successful, powerful, and poignant artists. And sitting beside me is one person I know specifically who has made his travels or brought his travels around, and they've affected his art. So I want to find out about that. You've done Neighborhood Playhouse. We'll save a little section of time just for that. But in terms of just the travel alone, what do you feel has been the impact on you as an artist, whether it be acting specifically or anything else that you feel you do artistically?
Well, when I travel, or I guess in general, when you travel, experiences sort of come to you. You meet some wild characters, and if you are a very adventurous traveler, I have all these stories now from all my traveling. I have all these great people I've met and hilarious stories or tragic stories, and you don't think they really mean anything until you get to text, and then you go, oh, that reminds me of that, I don't know, kangaroo I saw, or driving in a car with my friends up the coast, or when I was sick in Copenhagen, or when I was in New York and I had to really go to the bathroom.
Right. So
Sorry, out of context, that sounds so weird.
well, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it at that
Because-
and let them fight with it.
It's a disgusting story, actually. I don't.
Are we talking Train Spotting disgusting? The whole worst bathroom in the world?
No.
No? Okay.
Maybe in the bloopers,
In the bloopers.
in the deleted scenes, I'll tell the story if
Okay.
you want to hear it.
So what I'm hearing is that anybody who's an actor and maybe in other artistic professions, you've heard the thing of you can't do this because you don't have the life experience or a version of that. I know when I was in high school, I wanted to play an older character. And like, no, you don't have life experience to play older, so you can't do it. What I'm hearing from you is one of the things that travel has afforded is life experience to play those different characters. You've got something tangible to draw on.
Yeah. When I was, this might seem a little off topic, but when I was 18, I was accepted. Maybe you don't even know this, but when I was 18, I was accepted to George Brown Drama School.
Okay.
Right out of high school.
Congratulations.
Well, wait. Because when I got there, and I was there for a semester, and after first semester, I was cut. They did a big cut, and I was devastated and very upset. And so I, went on, lived my life, thought my acting career was over, but I just tried some things out, did some plays. And then recently I bumped into a few people who graduated from the program who were also around my age or young. They were young people who had either just come out of high school or had only taken a year off but not really done anything. And talking to them, I realized that, yeah, they went to school, but it did nothing for them. I did Neighborhood Playhouse for 6 weeks. I did at the Lambda, the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. They do an 8-week summer program. So I did a 6-week summer program, an 8-week summer program. I do some work at Ryerson, and I've maybe had like one other class at Tarragon Theatre, and that's it. I don't have a degree in anything, but I travel a lot, and I've booked a lot of plays, and that's what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. Sort of going back to what you were saying about
living, about being able to be outside of the box as an artist, so that you can bring that experience back to your art.
Because as an actor, you don't really need to go to school. Yeah. I mean, it's helpful, and some people do need it. Yep. Sometimes it's very good. But for the most part, as long as you're putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to be vulnerable or sensitive to people and to experiences, then that's kind of all you need.
Absolutely. And I want to support what you're saying, Tyler. I do agree that school for some people is a necessary and appropriate path. I don't slag school. I did school myself. Sure. I've got a university degree that says acting, blah, 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 whatever. But I know many other artists who have never spent a day in a classroom, and they're fabulous and talented. Acting in and to itself and art in and to itself is something that I believe, and maybe you can support this, believe is something that comes from the soul. And if you're willing to open up and you have a venue for yourself to get that out from the inside to the outside, and you're able to share it somehow, then that's where the art comes from. That's where the brave step of being an artist is taking what you believe or feel in here and sharing with the world. I remember years ago when I was teaching acting, because I taught at a school for a while.
What school?
I taught at the Cindy Tanis School for a very brief period of time here in Toronto.
Get out of town.
Yeah, very, very short. But one of the things I said to the students there was, all of the greats, your Stanislavskis, your Uta Hagens, your Meisners, they're all appropriate.
Yeah.
They each have a method that teaches people who have forgotten or haven't learned yet how to get from the inside out. They've got a method to help people unleash that. Right? It may not work for you, but whatever you choose or whatever pieces you pick, whatever it does for you, if that's what you need, then find that method, right?
Idris Elba was a DJ. I think he was a DJ. And someone spotted him and was like, hey, you're a cool guy.
Can you do this in front of the screen? Right?
I mean, more or less. I don't really know whole Idris Elba's.
I recently saw how Will Smith got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
How did he get it, Geoff?
I will encourage anybody, because I'd rather talk with Tyler about this, but take a look. It's on YouTube. Look up Will Smith Bel-Air and getting the gig or something like that. I'm sure you'll find it. He talks about how he went to a party when he was down and out on his luck after his music wasn't doing so well anymore. And Quincy Jones said, I've got a script here. You're going to do the audition. He was like, no, give me a week. And he's like, people are going to be gone in a week. We've got him right here. Do it now. And he did it. And within a couple of hours at a party, he was drawing up contracts.
Wow.
He tells it much better. It's his story. But our point being that it's the moment of taking that brave step, of letting what's in here out. Whether you get there by school or by classes or by travel, it doesn't matter. Allow your artist to be free if you want to be an artist. Right?
And be patient.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not a patient person, so I need to tell myself this all the time. But I watched before I came here, I watched a few episodes of the show to sort of get an idea. And as I was watching the episodes, I was a little intimidated because there were some people who were very well qualified. They had stuff to plug in and awards and sold out shows and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this because I don't, like right now, I literally got back from New York 3 weeks now since I've been back, and I don't have anything like that. And luckily, speaking to you before, you said it's not about that.
No, it's not.
It's not about that.
And what you're speaking to, and hearing you say it again, it reminds me that the biggest challenge as an artist, and I truly believe this is once you get over the hump of putting yourself out there, the biggest challenge is comparing yourself to you and not your peers. Who cares if so-and-so's got 27 Doras or 30,000 Oscars? Am I better than I was yesterday? Right? Did I do a stronger performance today than I did yesterday?
True.
Did I grow? True. And am I more honed in my craft? Is the only only question I believe we need to ask as artists. The comparison against myself. If I'm not growing, I'm not a good artist. And travel is one of the ways that you've said has helped you grow.
Yeah.
Right? Helped you become a stronger artist. The culmination of those trips took you to New York. Right? That's when the neighborhood playhouse happened, if I got the timeline right. Australia, Copenhagen, all that fun stuff, and then New York.
New York.
What was it like studying for 6 weeks in New York? What did that experience do for you as an artist?
I learned to be more independent. I'm a better listener, much more aware of people and their mannerisms. And when I say independent, I mean there's something about being in New York that really helps you make decisions. It helps you, you have to learn to stick out from everybody. And yeah, I still kind of do, but I cared way too much about what people's opinions on my work, or it's something I would do, or what I was wearing. And I'd go to buy shoes, and I would stand there and I'd be, oh, well, maybe people would like this pair of shoes. It's something stupid, It's just a pair of shoes. No one cares. But now, like, coming back, I really appreciate things more, and I've really learned to be more in touch with my sensitivity. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with, reasonably okay with who I am. And
there is no right or wrong answer, right? What you're sharing, and I love what you're sharing. Thank you for it, because it's so honest, it's so true, and to the heart of being an artist, in my opinion. You're talking about the ability to make choices for yourself, and stand by those choices. And as an artist in general, but I really think as an actor, when we're given a script and we make a choice, we have to stand behind it. We have to know how to validate that. Whether we can do it consciously and do like text script writing and stuff like that is one way to do it, or whether we know it innately and we are able to voice it if challenged on it. It's important for us to be able to have the strength behind why we're making those choices, because it informs character, and then that helps inform script and larger story. Equally important is if you're independent of your own idea and you know what you're doing for yourself, when your director, who is the person who has the veto power, says we need it to go this way, you can let your idea go and be more open as an artist, I believe, because you're not fighting to find an idea. You've already got one.
Yeah.
If the director says this is where we've got to go, hopefully you've got a good enough communication at the director, and the director can explain why you're going that way. You can go, this is why this worked for me, not working for bigger picture, and director's vision, right? Comes into play. And I think that's vital. And you're saying that you've found from your travels, from the work at the Playhouse, that you were able to find that peace within yourself to say, this is how I make my choices.
Yeah, the neighborhood Playhouse is, the school is focused on the Meisner technique, which deals with a lot of repetition. And if you don't know what the Meisner technique is, you should look it up. I think it's a very important technique. Not for everybody. But for me, it was, I responded very well to it. And learning the technique, I created a new work ethic for myself.
Wow.
To learn my lines right away. As soon as I get my script, I learn my lines right away, even though I hate learning lines.
Me too.
It's awful. I freaking hate it. Learn my lines right away, so that when it comes time to performing or rehearsing, I know my lines so well that all I have to do is listen to what my partner's saying and observe what they're doing, and then let my response or my line just come out through that natural impulse. The reaction.
Yeah. I understand that very, very much. And I think that's really a great spot to relate a quick story and wrap us up.
Okay.
In honor of what you've discovered for yourself, I go back to many years ago. I was watching something like The Actors Studio or some interview program, I don't know what it was, with the Sir Anthony Hopkins. And the interviewer said to Hopkins, how do you learn your lines? You're the great Anthony Hopkins. Like, how do you do it? And he said, I learn my lines. And the interviewer was like, what? And he's like, sometimes before he gets to set, at that point, that was back in the 90s, I guess, when I was watching that interview, at some point before he gets to set, he has read the script anywhere from 5 to 1,200 times. And he says, after you've read the script that much, all you've got to do is listen. The rest just happens.
Yeah.
Because you know the words the character says, you can listen and actually feel.
And because I can't do the whole Marlon Brando thing where you tape your lines in different parts. I can't do that. I'm not that type of actor. And that's such dedication to his... Going back to Anthony Hopkins for a second, that is such good dedication because it really shows through his performances too.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm supporting you because it sounds like the basis of his and now yours is learn your lines so that you can respond rather than try to remember your lines to respond.
And that interviewer, whoever they are, that's interesting that they say that because people think there's like a fun, cool way to learn your lines, but it's not. No. It's sitting there. There's nothing fun about it. Yeah. You sit there and you drill your lines and...
find the context to put them in.
And you just sit in a room where there's no distractions.
Do it.
No alcohol.
You do it. And all sorts of stories about how actors have learned their lines in the past. And with that, Tyler, I really appreciate true honesty and openness today here in studio with me. Thank you for it.
Thank you, Geoff. I'm so happy to do this. I really am.
It's been a pleasure. I'm glad that you're enjoying yourself. The audience... I know they feel it. The blatant honesty you were sharing with us today is special. You've had a special episode here on Thoughts from the Green Room. My first one back after a fairly decent break. Tyler Tanner is the man who made this special. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up. We will see you in just a few weeks on Thoughts from the Green Room. This was the interview series. Your host, Geoff Mays, and special guest once again, the dedicated and amazing Tyler Tanner.